everyone, and welcome to tonight's exclusive webinar. While being a retail trader for nearly 35 years, Raghee has proven herself to be consistently profitable in an array of market conditions. With the expansion of technology over the past few decades, Raghee has learned how to evolve her technical analysis, foundational tools, and strategies for today's market environment. Her insights are invaluable for traders of any level. Get ready to unlock new heights of your trading knowledge. Let's go ahead and give a big warm welcome to the one and only Raghee Horner. Take her away, Raghee.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Daryl. Thank you everyone for being here. Fantastic to see you all. All right, I'm going to get some screen going here. I've got bright lights in my face. So let's see, where are my screens? One sec. Bright lights. Let's get the bright lights out of my face for a moment. There we go. Share the screen, and there we go. We'll get the bright lights. Lighting and makeup is a big thing here in the office. All right. There we go. And we can get the lights back up. Actually, we don't even need those lights, do we? That looks okay. The lighting team of nobody. Great to see everybody. Great to see everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the hearts and thumbs up and fireworks and whatever else we got. I particularly like the little guy with the money eyeballs. And yeah, that's a good one too. That is what we're going to talk about tonight. So we've got a lot to cover, a lot of examples to cover. And you are here because you want to learn about tools and strategies to stay consistent in today's market. All right, awesome. So I'm actually looking at about 9 screens here. And if anyone's looked at my Instagram, I just recently posted the rig here. So I always talk about it. So if you see my head on a swivel, I'm just keeping an eye on a bunch of things, and I will keep an eye out for those questions. Let's get to it, gang. Good evening. So let's see here. Bear with me. Oh, wait a minute. Am I looking at? Hang on. You know what I did? You know what I did, Trish Boss? Mm-hmm. Yeah, hang on, gang. Yeah. Give me one moment, gang. You didn't tell me. That's okay. It's my bad. Give me 1 second, gang. It'd be good if I give you the right slides, wouldn't it? See, this must be a good omen because this is the second time. There we go. It's a good omen. Let's just take it at that. All right. Nothing like having the right slide deck. I'll tell you, we were so excited about this webinar. I'll tell you, we were jamming out to some music before we started. And see, that's what happens when you get too excited about your slide deck and you start jamming to music before the webinar. We were. And you want to listen to some good tunes today? Here we go. Get your foundation right, and the trades will follow. Let's get to it, gang. All right. So what does right mean? What do I mean get your tools right? And let me clean my glasses here. It's been a long trading day. What does that mean, right? So right is defined, frankly, by having tools and strategies that have been time tested. I'm the time tested girl. Time tested, used for a long period of time, gets us to the desired outcome as traders. That means consistently profitable, again, over a long period of time. Years that add up to decades. That's what I want for everyone here. We've talked about this. What does consistency look like? Consistency looks like, frankly, the best trend you'll ever see. That's the uptrend of your P&L. So again, for those of you that are a little new to me, those of you that might be new to my story, quick backstory, just a little background on my becoming, and most importantly, having been able to be a full-time retail trader for 35 years now. So I was about 15 and a half years old, and I wanted to get a job. How many of you did the same? Yeah. So I wanted to get a job, and this was my mom's only requirement, that I take a percentage of my income from this job and put that money in the markets. Now remember, 15 and a half year old girl, right? So I started charting with graph paper because my goal was to prove to my mom that her request was completely unreasonable. So it didn't take long, but I really quickly realized that, don't tell my mom, she was right. Because mom said so, right? So holy cow, I can make money when I sleep. This stuff is amazing. How do I learn more? I was hooked. So I started in commodities, and I went on to stocks, and options and bonds, ETFs, Forex. And I'm a firm believer in being fluent in many markets. They are connected, right? That means understanding all asset classes, all time frames. Now, you may not trade them all like I do. You don't have to, but it's good to understand how they all work together, right? So fast forward 35 years, it even feels crazy saying that. I share what I do every day with my Sector Secrets Mastery members, and I've been consistently profitable for 3 decades, meaning, and it just means this, I have more money in my account in December than I did January every year for a really long time now. And it all starts with having the right tools and strategies that we're going to talk about tonight, right? That's what I would love for you to be able to use in your trading journey. And it is a journey, right? It absolutely is. So let's get to it. So that's a little background on me for those of you that never knew. Yes, like all things, moms are at the root of all the goodness. Isn't that true? All right. So who's tonight's conversation for? Why are you here? Who are we talking to? Options, stocks, ETFs, and futures traders. I always like to get that out to everyone. This isn't about a single asset class. Traders who are not, well, let's put it this way. Traders who are not seeking growth in their account that you're looking for. If you're struggling and you're not getting the growth, this is for you. Traders who are losing more times than they win, getting nauseous from the ups and downs. We saw a little bit of that today, right? But ups and downs in your balances in your trading account. Traders who are blowing up your account. This is for you. Getting stopped out, losing money, being frustrated because you just can't seem to get the more, right? The more that you're looking for out of your trades. This is for you, all right? This is for kind of all of us, all right? So tonight's conversation is also for those who are newer to trading. Where do I start? How do I avoid common mistakes and not create habits that are not going to help me in my journey? We have to start with a solid foundation, intentional building blocks for you to succeed. So think of it this way, right? Think of it this way. A house that is built on sand, we know how that's going to end, will likely fall. But a house built on cement, right? Blocks, with each piece having a specific placement, that is a foundation that will endure the test of time because it gives you a solid foundation to build on, right? Now y'all know how much I like to wave around on camera. Statistics, right, say that only 1 to 2, maybe 5% of trading people will succeed at trading. So you take 100 people, maybe 2 to 3 or 4 of them are going to succeed, right? You can be a part of that 1 to 2%. That's what I want to share with you, right? We want to be the exception. We want to be exceptional. Yes. All right. So instead of me flailing my hands all over the place, and again, welcome to my office. If this is the first time you're joining us, I'm going to cut the cam. We're going to dive into some charts and all sorts of goodness. So let's get to it. All right. So what is the backstory? So over the past 35 years, I developed a foundational system that I have used to start my analysis. It's where I start, right? And this is for option stocks, ETFs, and futures. They have been collectively referred to as tops. And maybe you've heard of that, yeah? Now, for those of you that are not familiar with my work, tops has been my foundation for decades. Tops included the 34 EMA wave, grab candles, propulsion dots. And again, these are my go-to. That's been the way it's been for over 30 years. Doesn't matter if it's option stocks, uptrends, downtrends, choppy markets. This is where I have started my analysis on any symbol, time frame, and market condition. And by the way, that was really, really great for a long period of time. And they still do work, but something was wrong. Something was missing. Something was different. And that's why, fast forward to the year 2020, right? The terrain, the landscape of the market, it was changing. Now, it was a great year. And so when we think about 2020, frankly, none of us were paying attention because, underneath this amazing historical uptrend, something was going on, right? So what do I mean? We coasted through 2020 and 2021, right? We knew what happened. But by 2022, collectively, traders were in a panic. What happened? Now, we know the FOMC began hiking, and that should have created a trend. It should have been some clarity, but it didn't. Trends did not follow through in the way they had in previous years, even decades. That was the cue. Now, think about what's happening behind the scenes. Retail traders were empowered with more easy access, quick access to the markets. Remember, zero commissions. Algorithms, the algos, Skynet, as I like to call it, continued to increase in speed, in size, in scopes, frankly, and even tactics. This was way more than the high frequency HFT that we were already aware of. They had evolved. This was way more than HFT. So they're two common, there's actually two very common and persistent algos out there that we deal with today, day in, day out, that are affecting our trading lives in a far more impactful way. We know it, we feel it, we see it. Today even, right? You could have seen it on the S&P. Event-driven and news-driven algos with now the AI, so that's double Skynet, is responding to things, to these things, these events. So that means that every time there's a hot zone, hot economic data, an FOMC speaker, any kind of news, these AI algos are going to work. Mean reversion algos, right? Another set of Skynet monsters. Mean reversion algos that are looking for cycles of a system to return to its average from deviating to the mean, right? So we've got these mean reversion seeking missiles out there as well. Add to that the highest participation in history for retail traders, getting active in ways we've never even seen, really. Yes, we saw it in 2020. We're seeing it even now. And it became clear that price alone could not identify the full impact. Price alone could not identify the full impact. This was a major problem, as our tools had worked for decades, but now somehow these were a little bit off, a little bit, well, less effective, right? This is what was happening. So as we go on, right? As we go on to what's happening, here's what I want to say. So take a deep breath. Do not question yourself with, what am I doing wrong, right? Frankly, you aren't doing anything wrong. The markets have changed with technology, all those reasons, algorithms. And there is a list now of new factors to consider, right? These factors forced me to look at my analysis differently. That forced me to. We had to adapt. So how was I going to accommodate, consider, and evolve to measure data to trade more effectively in, frankly, the most modern of modern day markets? And that's where, right? That's where we had to adapt. And that's where the tools had to change. And this is the evolution of the foundational tools for every trader. That was the story. That was what caused this to have to become a reality, right? So in trying to address all of those changes, I had to adopt. I had to evolve as the machines were, right? New factors that are so impactful need to be considered in every aspect of your tools to get that analysis right for yourself. Top Tier Pro is the collection of various tools that make up a system. It's a system, right? It's not disparate indicators. It's not an indicator. It's a system that bears in mind the market changes that we just talked about, right, are here to stay. So these are your at a glance, color-coded, trustworthy, time-tested tools that measure the key levels of price and participation. We're looking at trend, right? What is that behavior that we need to capitalize on? So this is your toolbox for today and going forward. Those changes, that modernization is here to stay, and it only continues to grow. It's more important than ever that we adapt. This tech is not going away. It's getting more elaborate. It's getting more sophisticated. It's getting bigger, right? I guess Skynet is a pretty good analogy. So the top tier collection of tools, the system, is made up of the top tier candles, the top tier Pro Wave, the Pro Multi-Structure, the Pro Propulsion Dots, I like that, Pro Prop, and the secret squiggle. So don't get caught up with the tools right now. We're going to definitely get into each one, examples, how we built the trades. So first, let me show you how these tools have been working, right? And a lot of you know, we've been killing it this year. There has been an absolute trend in place, a trend that I probably would not have been able to capitalize in the same way had I not had these tools. So this is really the needle mover for me, right? So let's get on to the trades. All of these trades are swing trades, all right? All of these trades are swing trades. And these are trades that are overnight. We're going to take them past the close for several days and maybe a couple of weeks. These are all trades that we took in the Sector Secrets Mastery, and we'll talk about that more. And these are all long calls, right? Long calls, long puts. in a cash account, might I add. No Greeks, no complicated strategies, no spreads, nothing like that is needed. We'll talk more about that as well. But long calls, long puts in a cash account. So let's break down some individual trades that made up the collection of data that we're looking at. Now, these are examples that a lot of you probably haven't seen. So let's get to it. Now, Freeport Macaran. This is the chart here. This is a trade that's still open, but let's get familiar with the top tier pro system while we look at this chart of Freeport Macaran, FCX. That's a mouthful, Freeport Macaran, where I bought the 19 April. So we want to talk a little bit about expiration as well, right? 19 April, 49.5 calls. These are $485 P&L per contract, or $4.85. It's still going. And this is where we'll start to build this trade together. So let me grab my drawing tools here. All right, here we go. Now, the bottom two rows down in here, okay, that's the multi-structure. This is where the momentum on the top and the trend on the bottom are clarified to that simple color-coded system. Green, or that minty color, whatever you want to call it, is bullish. Magenta is bearish, and gray is neutral, right? In this trade, take a peek. The multi-structure is green, so I'm bullish, all right? The top tier candles, these are the top tier candles. Green is bullish, red is bearish here, and yellow is neutral. Now, the lighter shade of green or red or yellow is an up candle, while the darker shade is a down candle. These candles consider, now why are they coloring, right? These candles consider price and participation, a color code, giving me a candle by candle instant read on the direction of any symbol on any time frame. In this trade, notice the candles are green. That is bullish, right? Now we have the top tier wave here, down in here, that's the top tier wave. And this is the dynamic support and resistance inherent in a healthy trend. It's also a powerful mean reversion zone. The top tier wave, similar to the top tier candles, again, computes price and participation of any symbol, any time frame in real time. We'll get more into this, but introducing you to the tools. What did we do with Freeport Macaran in this example? So again, I bought the 19 April 49.5 calls, all right? And the whole idea here was to take advantage of the movement higher. So a lot of traders say, okay, Rog, what does that look like? If you want to write this down, it's really simple. Where does the green meet the gray? Right? And you can see there's not just one example on this chart. That was probably my hardest decision doing this. Which one of these opportunities, which one of these setups do we want to highlight? You can see I put the, and it was, did I say 49? Yeah, sorry, it's 45.5. So when we're looking at these setups, and you can see here I outlined where the entry was, take a look at where the green meets the gray. Keep that in mind. That's how automated this can be. Let's use another example. Let's move on over to gold. All right. And these are still open trades. My mastery folks, you remember these. These are trades we put on, I believe, the last week of March 25, March 26. So let's talk about this example here in GLD. GLD, by the way, is the gold ETF for those of you that are unfamiliar. In this trade, each option cost about $350, right? So think about that for a moment in terms of affordability. I'm not going to hang on this right now, but think about that for a moment. How many $350 options could you buy? Affordable, scalable, right? Currently, this option is trading at $17. So we paid $350, and now they're trading at $1,700 or 17 points. This is a 350% gain on premium paid, or much, much, much better put. As you can tell, it's $1,450 per contract. Again, this is the April 19th, so I'll have to close these out pretty darn soon, but I'm going to ride this for as far as this trend is going to go, right? Take a look at the multi-trend. Look at that energy. Look at that direction, bullish. Take a look at the grab candles. I'm sorry, the gray candles, the top tier. They're bullish. They're green. So this is how we got here, right? Multi-structure shows me long calls, the uptrend, the top tier candles, again, printing green, confirming the upside is indeed the right side. And the daily price movement ranges automate the zones. So all we have to do is patiently wait Remember I said for the green to meet the gray, when price sunk into the daily price movement range. Okay. All right. Participation. Sure. Okay. Sorry. Hey, by the way, the Trish Boss is in the house. I know everyone loves the Trish Boss cameo. At least say hi, Trish.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone, she said. All right. So Trish is saying some of you are asking about participation. Absolutely. We'll talk about that. So the daily price movement range, all we had to do is for that green to meet the gray. When price sunk into that zone, that in the context of that uptrend, right? That's where the long calls were triggered. And by the way, once again, when you're looking at these charts, I'm not just picking out one example. I'm picking out the example I took that we alerted in the mastery, but look at how many other opportunities for that setup were there. That's important. We want our pipeline to be full of opportunities. So take a peek as well. What else gave me confirmation, gave me confidence for the upside? Price was well above the wave. So the daily price movement range, this is our wave here. Price is well above that. That's bullish, but that's that DPMR is what becomes our alternative support for entries. All right. That's gold. And by the way, this is still an open contract. This is why when I put this here, I showed you what's been realized or closed and what is still unrealized here in this trade. Okay. All right. So a little bit more on the daily price movement range indicator and the update to subscription. So this DPMR is a tool that we add to our analysis because it gives us another layer of color-coded data, right? At a glance. It makes a huge difference in where we should be entering and exiting our trades. It's extremely powerful. So it answers some really big questions. Where do I take profit? All right, that's a huge one. Where do I take profit? How many points could I reasonably expect on a move, right? Rather than guessing. The daily price movement range takes 6 months of historical data, puts it all together, curates it. It's an algorithm, by the way. It's an algo. Fighting algos with algos, right? And we got a 68% accuracy on those ranges. So it's a dynamic tool. It does need to be updated because we know contraction and expansion of volatility is real. So to stay current and accurate, we feed this algorithm with the freshest data, right? So there's loads of behind the scenes work, so you don't have to worry about it. And this is essentially what we're looking at when we are looking at the DPMR or the daily price movement range. All right. So why are we talking specifically about swing trading, right? Frankly, not all traders want to be day traders, right? Being a day trader does require that you be at your computer, dedicated to the markets at a minimum for the first hour or two every day, right? 9:30 to 10:30, 9:30 to 11:30 Eastern. And a lot of traders cannot commit to that required time frame because of work schedules, because of life, right? Other traders simply do not care for that fast pace. They want more time to analyze their trades and set up their trades. And there's a lot of reasons some people just simply may not want to be a day trader. Nothing wrong with it. I love it, but hey, there's a lot of reasons it's not realistic for everybody. The top tier pro system, by the way, does work for day trading, swing trading, and also portfolio positions, which are, by the way, trades that are held months to years. I do have another example for that for you in this slide deck. But tonight, we're going to talk about swings, because that, quite frankly, is a style that is really powerful, and it makes sense to put our best foot forward, quite frankly, in this environment. So, by the way, why are we talking long calls and long puts? Long calls work in a bull market, right? Long puts are fine too, but long calls work in a bull market. You don't need to use Greeks and complicated strategies. Nothing wrong with butterflies and straddles and spreads, but you don't need them. If you don't want them, you don't need them. You can succeed without them. Long calls and long puts is all you need to really use and understand. Right now, the market conditions are not really quite yet suitable for puts, but that's what we're talking about, calls. But this will work for both directions, right? We trade what the market tells us, no guesswork, no feelings, right? No fear, no panic. We just work on that visual of what the chart says. And the foundation of top tier pro tools will tell you what the market is doing. So have trustworthy tools, trust your tools, right? Like your car, you want a car that you can trust, that will take you where you want to go, regardless of where that is, right? You don't need to know how it works, right? You do need to know that it will be reliable day after day without you having to figure out how each part of your car works, or worse, it abandoning you when you need it most. So same with your trading tools. They do the analysis and work for you. So when the markets transition, the tools are going to say, hey, wait a minute, this is not the same adventure we were on, right? So like your car drives you around, sometimes literally now, cars drive you without you doing anything. You do need to develop reliable strategies. And this is the driving your car part, right? You have reliable cars, reliable tools, reliable indicators. So you need to learn the skills and techniques needed to safely and effectively use that car to take you where you want to go. This makes you want to go to the racetrack. Top tier pro tools in the daily price movement range work on any time frame and any market movement. It doesn't matter if it's up or chop, right? We were going to be dealing with that, or eventually down, right? These are the tools that will work regardless of which way that road is going to take you. This is what you can use in your trading analysis, right? No panic, no guesswork. That makes me really happy. I have enough gray hairs as it is. I don't need more in my life, okay? I don't know about you all. Okay, so let's get to some more examples. This is Meta. This is a trade that we took in Meta. It's going back a little bit. We took 935 and 1520. And you're going to see sometimes I have unrealized and realized, and you'll see sometimes 1 and 2 different payouts because we scale out. This is the first target. This is the second target. We scale out of trades. And you can see how many contracts are traded in the total P&L. Let's get into some more details. So we've been testing top tier for 14 months. So we've seen a lot of different market conditions in the testing and the development of this tool. We talked about why I was even forced to do this in the first place. So Jan 10 Meta, right? 610. So January 10, right in here. $6.10 went to $15.40, then ultimately to over $21. But why did we buy this? So is everybody thinking where the green meets the gray? Is everyone already thinking about where that green meets the gray? Because you'll see, Rog, that was not the only time this happened. It's a couple of different opportunities, or at least we got very close a bunch of times. But notice we were focusing on the multi-structure being overall green. Look at the top. Look at the energy and the direction of this market. Was it easy green? Look, this is an example of a chart that wasn't a simple, straight up, screaming uptrend. But notice how when I see more green, when I have the green grab candles, the confidence to buy in the gray is really simple. The top tier candle is green, and the DPMR defined the zone, right? It defined the zone. How easy is it when you have this zone waiting there? You're just waiting for price to get there. That's it. Okay, that's Meta. And I do want to mention a couple other things here on this chart. You'll notice some of the easy features of the green grab candles, down candle, up candle, really simple to understand the up and down close. We don't lose that nuance. And you'll also see our mean reversion will turn on and off depending on whether that zone should be even considered. How awesome is that? So it's all a self-correcting mean reversion tool. If it's not there, it's not valid to consider. So no confusion at all, right? Okay, next example is BITO. So this was something we did on the 22nd of March. We bought the 19 April 29, we bought the 28 call at 29.15. So that's right in here. So a lot of folks have asked, Rog, what are you doing here in terms of these entries? So 22nd. Now look at what's happening. Not only do we have the bullish energy, the bullish direction, green is meeting the gray, and then look at this. We also have a mean reversion. Look at everything that's working for us for this BITO trade. So we paid $1.70 for these, so very inexpensive, for $170. It ultimately went to about $4.50. Now, I want to mention something because a lot of folks ask, Rog, where are you getting the number of contracts? So my budget for this trade was $4,800. That allowed me the 2,800 contracts. So 4,800 divided by 170, which was the price, right? That's scalability. Some people might have bought 2. Other people could have bought 38, right? Just depends on your budget. So that's scalability. So this is where we enter. Look at the mean reversion, look at the daily price movement range, and this is why we would buy. Now, somebody asked me earlier about participation, right? What does that mean, participation? So when we look at, and I'm going to go a little slow on this really, but I'll cover this briefly. think about what a simple moving average does. And just bear with me for a moment, okay? Because participation is, it's a really sophisticated part of what this does, but I want everyone to understand how important it is. Simple moving averages. I think everyone knows what that is. So let's say that you're looking at a 20 simple moving average. That means all 20 candles in that SMA are weighted evenly. They're all considered of the same importance, right? Why is this plotted here? Why did the system say this is so important? After a big sell-off, right? Why did that say that's going to be where it bounces? Well, we also have something called EMAs, which is what I used for many decades. This says, look, if I'm looking back on 20 exponential moving average candles, all of them are weighted mostly the same, but the ones more recent, right? Let's say if we're looking at candle 1 through 20, the closer I get to candle 20, their weighting is a little bit higher. That's all that an exponential moving average does. Rather than a simple, that's all weighted the same, exponential weights the more recent candles heavier. All right. That was not what was going to help me decode what's happening under the surface in this market. What I needed was a system smart enough to look back, for example, those same 20 candles and pinpoint whether candle number 1, 7, candle 14, and candle number 19, for example, were the most important. So we assigned basically a criteria for this system to say, look, I need you to find the candles where that participation and interest was the greatest. And that's what it does. It's not looking at all 20 candles or the period the same. It's identifying which ones are telling us the most about the trend. That's the difference. That's what I mean by participation. That's what's happening under the surface. That's what's being calculated for you. All right. So I hope that helps. All right. So why do I, by the way, break down profit as per contract? Why are we talking dollars? The tools and strategies and principles we're talking about and use every day apply to any account size. Right? This is where scalability comes from. So the minimum is about 5,000. And of course, the sky is the limit. The only difference between trading a $5,000 account and a $500,000 account or a $5 million account for that matter is how many contracts you can or should be trading. Understanding risk and what you can afford is another part of what we talk about each and every day when we are live trading. Not everyone should be trading 38 contracts or 8 contracts because it depends on account size. So just because you're at 5,000 or 6,000 or 10,000 today, that doesn't mean that's where you're going to be. So that's certainly not the goal. As you grow your account, you should not have to reinvent your trading style, right? And the other reason we break things down per contract is because we talk about dollars per each one contract. They call them cars, by the way, each car. So per contract, so you can say, all right, Rog, I could afford 10 of these. Maybe I could afford 20 of these. And you can do the math and follow along at home with what you think you would be comfortable trading and get a good idea of what you would make following these tools and these setups. Okay. All right. So that is, again, do the math, multiply it. Let's get back to the charts. Yeah. All right. Amazon. This is one of the best trends right now still. So you might want to write Amazon down. This is still a really great trend to keep an eye on. March 15, 172 calls. All right. So that's what we're buying. So March 15 expiration, 172s. We're doing this right in here. See this little zone in here? I'm kind of pinpointing the area. Look at that candle right in there. Where does the green meet the gray? And you might say, Ron, there's a couple times. Few times the green meets the gray. That's why I'm highlighting that whole area. There's a few times. I'm going to talk about one of them, but notice on many of these examples, there are multiple opportunities. I can only share with you the ones that I took. All right, here's one really important thing we haven't talked about yet and didn't get to talk about much. Right in here, this is kind of cool. We don't always need it, but this is the secret squiggle down in here. See how it got very close to the green line? This is a low line, this green dashed line running across the bottom. All right. We get close to that. And there's a color shift. By the way, here was one. Here was one. Here was one. What happened after each one of those? Oh, wait a minute, Rog. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. So when we can combine the secret squiggle, I always wanted to call it indicator of the secret squiggle, with what's happening here in the price part of the chart, that is a fantastic, powerful combination. That wasn't the only one, but do you always need it? Well, when we start to get some doubt creeping into a market like that, it sure is nice to know the indicator said, don't worry about it. We're already moving off a low. And then the daily price movement ranges absolutely did their job multiple times. So this is a color shift. And as it shot up to previous highs on the 14th, you can scale out. This is a pretty easy trade that went from $2.15 to $6. And then, by the way, that was where we scaled out the first time. And then as we went into expiration, I took the rest of it off at 4. A little bit less, but again, we tightened the stop. We still made sure we kept it a profitable trade. Never let a winner turn into a loser. That's how you do it. You tighten your stops. Okay, so that was Amazon. Next up is, where do these trades come from? All right, this is coming from the Sector Secrets Mastery. Like I said, Bot and I have been testing this. For those of you who don't know, it's been something we've talked about for a long time, 14 months. So these trades are coming from the Mastery with these indicators. And this is home base, by the way. Sector Secrets Mastery is my clubhouse. This is where I spend all my time, really. And we're a community of like-minded traders, an emphasis on community. We work together, all of us, 5 days a week in a live market environment, putting our trading tools and our skills to work, supporting each other. These are trades alerted to the members with the bonus of time. That's a really important thing, gang. When we send out alerts, what we want to do is, like a good GPS does, give you a heads up before the entry that we want to buy a certain option of a certain expiration date once price reaches a certain level. So I give you the alerts before the trade has happened, so you have time to set up your trades. You have time to set up position size. You have time to set up stop loss questions. All those things you need to know that you don't have time to do at a moment's notice. So imagine it this way. You're wanting to learn a language. You get the books, you get the apps, you get the tools, but really nowhere to actually practice and learn reading and writing and, frankly, speaking the language. I've been trying to learn Spanish for almost 20 years, right? I want to have a fluent conversation, don't I? I've got nowhere to practice. So think of it this way. This is what the mastery is all about. Learning the language of trading, learning to read it, to write it, to speak it, to practice. From finding what to trade, setting up your trades, risk management, targets for your wins, strategies for your losses. We cover everything you need to succeed. And we have a P&L that is my favorite trend. That's the uptrend, right? So let's take a look at some more trades here together. We're looking for fluency, right? We're looking for community. We're looking for somewhere where we can put all these things to work. And that's really where I'm so excited about this mastery that we have and putting these tools together in the mastery. Okay, I mentioned that we were doing portfolio trades too. And last week I showed you our XLK position from the portfolio at the Sector Secrets Mastery. And this is basic materials. Basic materials. Let me show you where we bought this. Now, when it comes to position portfolios, it's a little bit different in terms of a strategy. All right, we'll talk. We get together once a month. It's a little bit different. You might say, Rog, this is where we bought it, by the way. So we had the confirmation of the secret squiggle. We had the confirmation of the propulsion. It's a little bit different a strategy. But I wanted to show you, we use these same tools. And actually, we got 2 opportunities at it. We use these same tools to build positions. So this was at $23 per contract. We sent this out for alerts between $70 and $72 a share. I traded 500 shares. So this is still going. This is a longer term. These are shares bought. Now, folks ask me, Rob, can we buy leaps? Of course, you could do whatever you'd like, but I tend to buy shares. And this is a session that we have once a month in the mastery. And that we showed you XLK last week. XLB is another part of that position portfolio. All right, here is Wells Fargo. So let's walk through the setup. Right, let's start put. A lot of you should be able to almost look at these charts and say, Rob, I haven't even taken any time to learn this, but it's so intuitive. I'm starting to see where the green meets the gray and so forth. All right. Well, this one is going to be a secret squiggle setup. All right. And the idea here was to be able to get into this trade with a little bit of help in terms of an overbought, oversold. We're not always going to have trends, right? Look at all this gray, non-trending zone. Most of the candles are green, are they not? Another thing to mention is that we're still above, as I like to call this, these white dots, and you can't see it, but they would have been down in here. We're still above the equator. We're in the bullish hemisphere. So all these tools, again, work together as a system. So I'm looking to the long side or nothing. So once we get, here's that color shift. You see that in here? Here's that color shift. And in this case, I was looking for where yellow candles would meet the gray. Just that simple. It's not a trend, right? So it's going to be a little bit different a color combination. So this is more about oversold buys. So once I get that oversold, okay, we're coming off the low. Now I need a neutral candle in that gray zone. And this is a trade we took for about $495. And this is we scaled it at 505 after buying at 240, the 15 March 47.5. We've been in financials in and out. We've had a lot of different financial setups from JP Morgan to Citi to Visa to American Express. We traded Bank of America. Financials have been very good to us. This is just one example. I guess I could have chose any, right? I want y'all to realize I could have probably spent 6 different chart examples on financials alone. Keep an eye on financials, gang. But that's how we built a trade in a neutral environment with the confidence for the movement higher, okay? Easy to show trends all the time, right? But what about non-trends? Okay, next up is, let's see, we talked about, I think we even have an XLF example here. Oh, we do. But before that, Disney. Oh my gosh, this was a really great trade for us. Disney. This is stock in the communications sector. It's actually very attached to the NASDAQ. And I would say put Disney, I mean now, put Disney on your list as well. This is something we did back in late February. And right in here, we bought the 15 March 105 calls as price sunk down to 106.20. That is the trigger, right? That is the trigger. Now take a look at the tools. Do I need the secret squiggle? I don't, because I have bullish energy. I see all this. I have bullish energy. I have bullish direction. I have green candles. There's my green meets the gray. Okay. And we had 3 zones we were looking at: 106.20, 105.70, and 105.33. So at the onset, we had 3 levels that we were saying if Disney sinks down to these particular price levels, remember, we're sending this out beforehand because the zones are there beforehand. And whichever levels are reached, that's the timing. That's the reason for the option purchase. So these are always pre-planned. We're never adding after the fact. So everything is determined ahead of time. It's precise, and it's in alignment with the top tier pro system. And so that's what we did. We bought these for $4.05, wrote them to 9. Okay, beautiful trend. And by the way, it's still going. Look at how many more times Disney has done this, right? Many, many times. And this is current to, as of what, Monday's action. All right. So these are just the trades that I'm singling out. There are many, many more, as you can see on every one of these charts, which is very exciting, right? Having your pipeline full is a great feeling. All right. So I showed you that Wells Fargo example. Well, if I like Wells and JP Morgan and Citi and Bank of America and Visa, those could have all been examples for our top tier pro tools to strut their stuff. Here's XLF. This is the sector that all those stocks live within. This is a cool example. This is a mean reversion. So we've talked about choppy market secret squiggle. We've talked a lot about daily price movement ranges where the green meets the gray. What about how the system sets up a mean reversion? We hear about this all the time. There are algos that do this, right? There are algos that do this too. So this is one way we're sort of beating the algos at their own game. Come on, algos, do that mean reversion thing, because we can decode where you're going to basically stop reverting to the mean, because we have a way to define what that is. Because why? We're not just looking at price. We're looking at participation, which is, again, that ability for the top tier tools to single out within a historical look of candles to say, oh, these were the candles where the participation happened, and these candles are telling us more about what's happening in price. Very different approach to a simple or even exponential view of the market in terms of moving averages. All right. So here you can see a mean reversion. Again, we're getting the best of the algos. This is the top tier wave. Boom. Green multi-structure. It's buy only, isn't it? We're not going to get rope-a-doped into a short. Notice the steadiness of the top tier green bullish candles. We bought XLF 16 February, 36 calls for $1.60, and on expiration, because a lot of times in these trends, we're just going to ride these right till expiration. Got to get off the ride at that point. Took these to $3.90 after spending $160. Again, let me spell out a few things again. $160, how many of these could you buy? Some of you might say, Rog, yeah, I could be up there with you, 35, or Rog, I could be at 70. No problem. Or some of you might say, Rog, I might just buy, 4. Cool. Multiply out 230 per contract. That's for some, if that's a smaller account, 3,000, 5,000, 7,000, whatever it is, that's a needle mover in there. Incremental victories like this per contract, right, can definitely start to grow the account. It's pretty exciting stuff. When you think about, this doesn't have to be a large account. Yes, I do trade a slightly larger account, but not huge. A lot of folks ask, Rob, where is your account at? As long as we're talking about contract size. At the beginning of the month, my account, I'll take money out, bills to pay, whatever, toys to buy, whatever. I'll usually start somewhere between 45 and I think 47 to 65,000 is where I've been. But it doesn't matter if it's 4,700 to 6,500. Scalability, right? Scalability is the key. Okay, so what have we talked about so far here tonight? What are the key takeaways? You need to have a collection of tools that take into account those key factors. I've talked about the way top tier looks at the market very differently, right? Not just algorithms, not just retail participants, not just zero-dated options. How do we single out the candles that are telling us the most about the trend? Because not all candles are communicating as strongly or as clearly. I need a process in order to say, what is the market really, really doing? And that's what top tier does. Complicated strategies like Greeks are not needed. I don't use them. We didn't mention them once, did we? No offense to anyone who uses them, but you don't really need to. Long calls and long puts absolutely can take you to the next level, right? Your trading does not need complicated multi-leg strategies. It just doesn't. If you want to get there, great. Top tier will be great for you. But if you want to stick with long calls, long puts, and a cash account, that's what we do. I'm a big fan. All right. Any class, any account size can benefit. And the top tier pro system will serve you for many, many, and I want to say decades, but I shouldn't get ahead of myself, to come. Why? Does anyone think the factors that are in the market right now, from 0 days, expiration, to the algorithms, to retail trading, does anyone think that's going anywhere? Or you're thinking, Rob, we're probably just getting started. We're at the bottom of the mountain of these things in terms of their growth and their impact. I'm with you. I agree with that. So where do we go to learn how to use all these great tools, the strategies that I've shown you to find trades like this? Where are the principles? Where's that process? Well, gang, it's coming. Well, it's here. It is here. Top tier pro trading system class is happening this Saturday. It's here, gang. All right. So in our basic strategy class this Saturday includes the top tier indicators package, the installation session. And of course, this is so great. We talked about the mastery, 30 days of mastery membership. We'll talk about what that is in a moment. That's huge. So we don't just take the class. Now you're going to hang out with me for a month, an entire month. All right. The pro, the class, the indicator package, the installation session. Now 3 months, 90 days with me. And now we're adding in that daily price movement range subscription. Okay. That's in the pro package. And then the elite, of course, the class, the indicators, the installation. This is the immersion. This is it, gang. 1 year. 1 year in the mastery, 1 year of the daily price movement ranges. And of course, the pro and elite come with breakout sessions. So we got you covered one way or the other. Let's talk a little bit more about what all this is. By the way, if you are a Simpler Trading member, membership has its privileges, as it should. If you're a member of the Sector Secrets Mastery, if you're a member of the Simpler Central Room, any of the masteries for that matter, you'll get 10% off any one of these packages. Okay. So again, keep in mind, any of these can be upgraded. For example, if you buy the basic and you want to join us for more sessions, get the daily price movement range, extend your membership time. This is an extension, right? If you already have it, you might say, Rog, I've already got this. Great. Yeah, get more. Okay. You can do so by upgrading from the basic to the pro or the elite. You can upgrade to the pro or the elite, right? So the upgrade opportunities in there. You can advance your trading, extend those memberships. Okay. So that's what you get. Again, this is what you get. These are yours to keep. These are the top tier pro tools that we've been talking about all night. These are yours to keep. There's nowhere else to get these premium indicators at this time, gang. And the tools are included in every one of the packages. This is the mastery membership. 30 days at the basic, 90 at the pro, and 1 year at the elite. Okay, this is just some highlights of what you get with the mastery. Live trading with me 5 days a week from 9:20 to 11:30, Monday through Friday. Trade alerts. Okay, so now you've got the tools. You've taken the class. You've taken bonus sessions. You've got the daily price movement ranges. You get the trade alerts from me. I can't spell from me. I'm going to send you out trade alerts. So now we're all on the same page. We've got the tools, we've got the knowledge, and then you're going to get the trades from me. That's part of the mastery membership. Weekly tech sessions with the Lorna bot every Monday at noon. Every week, we're going to revisit the indicators, the tools, because this way, your charts and what you have, your indicators, you're always using them to the best of your ability. Live long-term portfolio sessions. That's how we got XLK in our portfolio. That's how we got XLB in our portfolio. We get together every Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month, not every Tuesday, every month, the first Tuesday of the month. The next session is May 7th, by the way. So when you join, that'll be the next session we get together. So for those of you, by the way, that don't know who, well, we'll talk about Lorna Bot in a moment with those tech sessions. So let's see. The next thing that we have, and this is pretty important. I think I skipped over the slide accidentally, but it's an important slide. This Friday at noon is really where the class begins. This is the live tech session. We're going to set up the top tier pro tools. So bring your questions. This is offered before the class. So you're sitting there in the class and we're going through the slides. If you want to look at your charts, you can. You'll have them already set up. You got everything you have to apply the indicators. This and every other live session, by the way, is recorded, including the tech session. All right. And again, if you don't know who the Lorna bot is, she's a key part of our room. She's an essential part of the mastery. And by the way, this tech session is included with every package. Okay. So we talked about the mastery. Let's talk about the newsletter, the top tier outlook. You get that as well. Another added bonus you can include with your mastery membership. This is my premium weekly newsletter. Every Monday, you get a roadmap from me about the upcoming week, what symbols, what sectors got to be on your watch list, knowing what hot zones are coming up and where you should be directing your attention. By the way, we've been moving away for weeks, moving away from tech, moving towards metals, energy, sticking with financials. Right? We've been making the adjustments that we are seeing working in today's market. We were making these adjustments weeks ago, and this is a big part of the value of the top tier outlook. If you can't make the class or any of the sessions, don't worry about it. They are always recorded. Okay. Bottom line, if I'm on the mic, it's being recorded and you will have it available depending on which package you have for your reference. That will be part of your library of information as being a part of this class. All right. Pro package includes everything we talked about: class, top tier pro, live indicators, 90 days, the daily price movement range. We've talked about all this, everything we just talked about, 90 days of the sector secrets mastery. So 3 months with me, 3 months of the top tier outlook newsletter, 3 months of the community, 3 months of trade alerts. In addition, we're going to have classroom breakout sessions. So we get to take what you learned in the class and then apply it in the real live market. I love these breakout sessions. It's one thing to be in the class. Now we're applying it. We're leaving the classroom and we're taking that car on the track to race it around. Bonus session you get with the pro package using TOS and TradingView with me on April 15th. I'm going to show you how I get to put the alerts in, how we manage, enter trades, all that stuff, how we manage the communication from our chart to putting that idea in our account. It's one of those things that a lot of folks struggle with. All right. Okay. So, we get the DPMR, the breakout sessions, TradingView, This is where, gang, listen up. The elite package is insane. Let's talk about this for a moment. And as we go through it, I'll walk you through some of the things I really want everyone to take note of. Of course, 1 year, which in and of itself, massive value. Strategy class, tools, live tech, bonus live session, toss and trading view bonus session, 1 year of the DPMR, 1 year of the Sector Secrets Mastery. Okay. And then now we get 4 breakout sessions. So 4 of those sort of live market classroom sessions, right? Okay. We take the car on the track together. Individual, gang, just do the math. Okay. That's all I can say. Just do the math. This is all you need to know. And by the way, 1 year of my trade alerts, 1 year of the community. I cannot emphasize enough how much you're going to get out of that time. The 4 breakout sessions, here are the dates, 16th, 18th, 23rd, 25th. By the way, if there's an alert, if there are certain things that I want you all to take away, we will send them out as alerts. We have this recorded. I also do notes while I'm doing sessions. So if you're thinking, Rag, I may not be able to attend it live, no worries, because again, it's recorded. And then while I'm doing every single session, I also take notes as well. So it's so much more than just, you know, when you're watching this again. But bring your questions. This classroom time in the live environment is going to be extremely powerful. And it's not just me saying it. You might say, Rag, of course you think your stuff is great. I do. I do. But we have a lot of traders that got early access to this set system. And this is their feedback, right? This is their feedback. So just take a glance at what other traders who have this already are finding it's doing for their trading. I love this one. Me too. Started trading with not knowing anything about the market, but wanting to learn. Now in my 6th week, also doubled. We have a number of members. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not saying this will happen for you too, but we have a lot of traders who are doubling accounts, growing accounts for the first time ever. So could not be more proud of the hard work they're putting in. All right, gang. So that's it. Again, if you're a member, 10% off. That's the member discount. This is what you're going to get with each one of these packages. Remember, if you're already a member, these include extensions. This is something we typically do not do. Okay. So you can extend out your current membership. You can extend out your DPMR subscription and then add the class, the indicators, the bonus session, the breakout sessions to your trading skill set. Let's answer some questions, shall we? All right. So thank you so much, gang. Again, as always, I appreciate everyone's time. I hope everyone realizes that whether it's trending or not, we can tackle these markets, but we have to look at them in a Trish. Oh wait, Trish Boss has something important here. Okay, it only extends the oh, by the way, when I'm talking about extending, I mean obviously, gang, this extends the Sector Secrets Mastery. Yeah, Trish Boss said make sure you say it extends a mastery, Sector Secrets Mastery, and extends the daily price movement range subscription. Obviously, the things that are in the package, right? I cannot extend your subscription to People Magazine. Yeah, cannot do that one. I can't extend your Netflix subscription. No, can't do that either. Right? It's our mastery. It's a Sector Secrets Mastery, and it's a daily price movement range. That is what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So Kenny's asking, hey there, Kenny. Thank you. Can we apply this strategy to longer term time frames? Oh, absolutely. I mean, a lot of these are daily time frames. One of the things, Kenny, that I would recommend in some of the environment that we're dealing with right now, and this will be part of the class, is actually shortening some of the time frames so we can get in with a shorter term swing and not necessarily a longer term, right? So as we have a little bit of chop making its way into the current environment, we've been adapting like that already in the mastery. Some of you that have already picked up the class from last week are already in the room and noticing we're making those adaptations to some of what's going on with the overall shifts we're seeing. Again, by the way, if you're wondering, Rag, when did top tier structure tell you we were in chop? I'll tell you right now, April 5. Today's April 9. April 5. The first warning came on April 4. The confirmation, April 5, top tier said, yep, we're going into chop. That was last Friday, right? So those are things to keep in mind. How quickly can we adapt to these shifts? When I explain the green meeting the gray, sure. So when I talk about green meeting the gray, let's go to an example here. What I'm talking about is the green top tier candle. We have so many charts. There we go. Green top tier candle. Let's see here. A green top tier candle going into the gray zone. So you see this gray zone here where it's kind of a lighter, I don't know if you call it brown or gray, that lighter zone right there, that's gray. I call this gold, right? And where the green candle trades down into the gray. Really simple, right? Because there's a price definition for what that means. There's a price definition. That gray zone has a beginning and end in terms of price. When we sink into that zone, bam, there it is. Is budget based on risk allocation? Tony, yes. Wonderful question, as it always should be. We work backwards in terms of, hey, what am I willing to risk in terms of my account? And that's what determines budget. Yes, absolutely. How do I determine the expiration date? Gabrielle, it really depends on a couple of things. Number one, liquidity. You've got to trade an option strike that has sufficient open interest. Number two, here's a great guideline, gang. If I'm looking at a daily chart and it has a trend, give yourself more time to expiration. If I'm looking at a daily and it's moving sideways, meaning the gray zone, so in this environment, I would give myself more time to expiration. In this environment, I'd give myself a bit less time. So a lot of times the structure, the multi-structure itself is going to tell me how much time I should give the market. I want to give a trend as much time as possible. In a non-trend, not as much. But typically, I'm going to be looking at third Fridays of the month. I'm going to look for liquidity. But that's the way it's really going to be in many ways. When I have a trend, I want to take advantage of as much time as possible before expiration. All right, what turns the candles yellow and orange? Ian, it's the same thing. Price and participation. Yes. So when we're seeing that directional participation start to wane, the yellow comes in to tell us, hey, this is more neutral. So the yellow candles are a lot like the gray in that way. They're telling us that, hey, there's not as much directional participation. All right. So that's really it. What's the system? So, hey, by the way, great question, HR. So I'm going to tell you this, HR. I don't believe in back testing. So I don't want anyone thinking these are back tested results. I don't believe in back testing. All that matters is, what am I calling out to our members? What are the alerts that are going out in the Sector Secrets Mastery? What are the trades I'm actually setting up and alerting, right? What are we actually doing? So when you say what's the percentage in the system, I don't want this to feel like it's back tested at all. 14 months, and then these results are from this year. Okay. And right now, it's a little high. It's a little higher than I would want. I know that sounds ridiculous, but we're at about 74%. That's dropped a bit because last week was a little bumpy. But right now, I think we're sitting at about 70%, 69 or 70%. So I will say this, HR, throughout my career, what I tell all traders is, for every 10 trades I'm going to take, all right, for every 10 trades that I'm going to take, I'm going to presume that I'm going to lose 3, maybe 4 of those 10. And that's actually a really healthy, realistic win rate without necessarily getting out of a trade too early. High win rates are usually indicative of taking profits too soon. Now, you notice with the GLD trade, with the Freeport Macaran, if I've got a trend, I want to ride that till the wheels come off, right? So when would I get out of XLB? Grace, you're asking about one of the trade alerts. So this is a great answer. Grace, look at the trade alert. Every time we send out an alert, we include what price to buy the option. If you've taken an alert from me, you also know the percentage of risk, because that's something we know even before we buy it. And then you also know where we're going to scale out, right? That's part of the trade alert. So what I'll tell you is, go take a look at the trade alert. It's all in the alert. Every alert has where we're going to buy the option, which expiration, what strike, and what price at which we're going to buy it. Meaning, if XLB got to a certain price, I'm buying that option. We already know our percentage risk. And then we also know where we're going to scale out. So yeah, I would say just take a look at that alert. All the information is always in the alert. How do I decide where to buy at? Scott, it depends on which environment we're in. I showed you 3 strategies in this webinar alone. Mean reversion, that's one setup. Where the green meets the gray for a buy, that's another setup. That's the daily price movement range and the top tier candles. And then also I showed you where that overbought, oversold secret squiggle is going to show you where in a chop where we would look for overbought and oversold. Okay. As far as 20 and 80 in the secret squiggle, what about 30 and 70? Mark, let me tell you this, the levels that I'm using, when I talk about testing, I do not release any indicator until I have I say 6 months, but I've never released an indicator without minimum 1 year of testing. Most traders don't do this. They cook up an indicator. Oh, this really works well. They curve fit and they'll release something every 30, 45 days. There's no way to know if that has any validity ongoing. So when I test something, I've gone and traded hundreds of trades between bot and I, right? We've done it for as long a period as we need to try to break and disprove the indicator. That's the stress test we put it under. So 20 and 80 work the best, and that's why I have it. But I always encourage our traders to do the same kind of thing. Test. Because once you have the knowledge to understand what the indicators do in the setups, now you can go ahead and try to make it your own. But 20 and 80 has worked the best, and it's just testing, trade after trade, month after month for 14 months now. And that's where these indicators have their power. We know they work, right? They're measuring the right things. They've proven again and again and again. They're putting me where I need to be more often than not. Again, every 10 trades I take, I know I'm going to be a winner 6 or 7 out of 10. Okay. All right. Do I always take the trades in the daily? No, Cheryl, I like the 1 hour as well. But, in the last 5 months, the trend has been up. We've been building the account in the Sector Secrets Mastery with the strong trends for 5 months now. And I'm so glad you asked, because we are going to talk about short-term 1 hour setups as well with these same indicators, because we're starting to do a little bit more of that. And daily is great. 1 hour is the other time frame I use. Now, I might use a daily and a 1 hour. It doesn't mean that you can't use a 4 hour, 2 hour, 30-minute, weekly. The indicators work, as I mentioned, on any time frame, any symbol. I just like the 1 hour and the daily. Okay. If we miss an alert, PPP, we also have a Simpler Trading mobile app. So even as you mentioned, because a lot of us are not in front of our laptop or computer or iPad or whatever, right? The alerts also go to the Simpler Trading mobile app. I've had my own Thinkorswim alerts hit me over sushi for lunch. My husband says, oh, your phone's vibrating. And it is. I turn it over. It's usually TradingView telling me that the price that I need, and I'll just boop, 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 put it on the phone. So when you have the Simpler Trading mobile app, it's hard to miss it. However, once you take the class and understand the setups, let's say you don't see it till later on, I do try to give the setup some shelf life. So there's a little bit of lead time or lag time, however you want to look at it. So yeah, sometimes you'll be able to catch it later on, but I will tell you, the Simpler Trading mobile app makes it really easy to catch these trades. And because I'm only looking at long calls, long puts, really simple to put them on the phone. I do a lot of trades on my phone. All right. How many trades per week? Lyndall, I don't put a certain number of trades out just for activity. I will tell you, somewhere we average in terms of swings, and it depends on the environment. I think we've been averaging somewhere between 2 and 5 trades. It's less about the number of trades, Lindell, but really more about the account growth, isn't it? I do try to stay active, to your point. And you saw in the trade examples, once you understand the process, once you understand the Top Tier Pro system, you're going to probably find trades that on your own that you can take. So it's not a matter of the pipeline staying full. Sometimes I tell the members in the mastery, I can't touch all the water. Sometimes it's an embarrassment of riches in terms of actual opportunity. And the problem, it's a great problem to have, is there's more opportunity that I can get to. So that's never an issue. That's really, I have not found that to be an issue. But it's really account growth we're after, isn't it? We're looking for high quality setups that can follow through, because the follow through is where the account growth is. Do I ever buy puts in a downtrending market? Robert, when we get them, absolutely. We just don't have any right now. Now, if you're saying, Rog, what's in a downtrend right now? If you have the top tier and you take a look at Apple, Tesla, I've been telling traders for months, I think since probably November of last year, I'm trying to think precisely, when the top tier said, start shorting Apple, start shorting Tesla. In fact, if you all join me in the class on Saturday, I'll make sure I put a couple bearish slides in the deck so you can see this isn't just about uptrends. It just happens to be that's what we've seen for the better part of, gosh, really since last April 2023. Yeah, but there are, take a look at Tesla, take a look at Apple. Top tier has been saying short these things. That's where Boeing would be another one. So this works for long puts as well. It just happens to be, let's not forget, gang, we're talking about S&P and NASDAQs that have gone to all-time highs this year. All-time high. So yeah, it's been a bullish environment. But if we roll over for whatever reason, or if you want to take advantage of weak stocks, throw the top tier on Boeing, throw the top tier on Apple, throw the top tier on Tesla. It's a sea of red. And the obviousness of staying short is just glaring. Yeah, the opportunities are there. All right, Kevin is asking, the market overall has been a strong bull. It's easy to see that the system works the bull trend. What about ranging or trending markets? So Kevin, I totally hear you. So number one, I showed you the example with the secret squiggle. A good system has to be able to adapt. I agree with you. A good system has to be able to adapt. So when we have a choppy market or a downtrend, we're going to have a gray environment. We're going to use a secret squiggle. We can play the back and forth chop. If the market goes all Boeing, Apple, Tesla on us, red candles, overall down movement, we'll buy long puts. We'll just flip it around where the red meets the gold is actually the downtrending situation. But Kevin, let me mention this. And, again, I don't mean this to be anything other than what I'm just about to say. The last 5 months, if the current process you have has not been growing your account, has not been giving you long after long after long position, something's wrong, because this has been one of the most phenomenal 5-month stretches that I've seen in a very long time, probably since 2020. So if you're thinking, Rog, I didn't have those blatant buys, that's where I say it's not your fault. The indicators are probably still playing one-dimensional chess. They're probably still looking at price. They're not looking at price participation. So that's where I say, yeah, it'll work in a choppy market. But if you look back and say, Rog, yeah, I am not seeing account growth in the last 5 months. I'm not seeing account growth in 2024. That's why you need Top Tier Pro, because Top Tier Pro has been jumping up on the table, pounding the table, basically screaming at us, stay with the long side. And that's where we want to focus on, hey, when is it trending? And then when it does start to chop, we've already built a cushion. We like to call it a profit pillow, right? Because if markets come down, we have this nice cushy pillow to land on, right? That is part of it. Now, for those of you wondering, Rob, how do I know what to trade? Part of the class, there's so much more I could talk about. Part of the class is going to be watch list building. I do want to mention that. Part of the class will very much be watch list building. And we're going to get into things like, well, actually, you know what? I'll tell you right now. We're going to get into things like, heck, I don't know if I should do this, but how to use the tools, right? How to utilize the daily price movement ranges, how to find potential symbols to trade, how to calculate what you can afford, how to manage your trades. I'm just going through a little bit of the slide deck that you're going to have in the class this Saturday. So gang, thank you so much for joining me. Those of you that are a couple questions on how much would the 1 year cost? Yeah, the daily price movement ranges are $800 a year, and the Sector Secrets Mastery is $2,000 a year by itself, right? That's $2,800. That doesn't include the breakout sessions. That doesn't include the new tools. That doesn't include the bonus session. That doesn't include the class. So when I say this is a crazy deal, yeah, if you were going to go buy this on its own, just the mastery for a year and the DPMRs would be about $2,800. So when I say that we're doing an unbelievable deal by including the tools, the tech sessions, the bonus sessions, the 1 year DPMR, the Sector Secret Mastery membership, and the breakout sessions. Yeah, I mean it, gang. We just pulled all the stops for this one. The Trish boss went above and beyond for this package. Above and beyond. And we're not going to be doing something like this again. Yeah, we are not going to be doing something like this again. This extension and this many tools, the access to everything for as long as we're doing. Yeah, I got to tell you, we're not going to be doing something like that again. All right, gang. Thank you again. Oh, one more? Oh, one more. Oh, Trish Boss. All right, Jonathan. Trish Boss really liked your question. All right, Jonathan. What's a week like in the Sector Secrets Mastery Trading Room? Busiest times of day, busiest times of week, participation, types of... Oh, okay, sure. Jonathan, so imagine 9:20, cup of coffee, 9:20 Eastern, East Coast time, New York time. You join the group in the room. Some folks are already buzzing, hanging out, talking about what's going to happen. They're already in the room, so you can join whenever you'd like. I hit the mic at 9:20. We take a look at some short-term time frames, right? If day trading is something you want to understand, short-term swing trading, we start taking a look at some short-term time frames. Every morning from 9:20 to 11:30, Monday through Friday, 52 weeks a year. I don't take vacations, by the way. Why? I'm living the life. Trading is, so I'm there every week, every day. It's rare that I'm not there. So I'm with you all from 9:20 to 11:30. Now, if you want to hang out, cool. If you can't be there for those 2 hours, no problem. A, the sessions are recorded, and B, I send out not only alerts, right, for the swings, I also send up follow-up short 2-3 minute videos. So if you missed the session, you go, Rog, that BITO trade, I wasn't there. Thanks for the alert. I'm in. Or Freeport Macaran, another thing that we got into today. Take a look at that chart. That was a top tier setup. I wasn't in the room. Thanks for the alert. And oh yeah, I got that 2-minute video. So there's a lot we do to make sure that whether you're in the room or you're not, we've got you covered, right? We would love for everyone to spend the day with us, but we realize that's not always realistic. We remember that folks have to come and go. We've got you covered, right? We send out supplemental short videos on the setups, of course, the alerts. We've got a lot of supplemental materials. So that's what a typical day looks like if you're in the room and even if you're not able to be in the room. It's a fantastic community. People that are in there love it. We're positive. We focus together. It's a very focused group, right? I call it my trading room for a very good reason. We take it seriously. We take our trading very seriously. We take supporting each other very seriously. And thank you tonight for your support, gang. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your love of trading. Thank you for wanting to get better at this game. Most traders do not put in the effort, even of sitting through a 1-hour webinar to try to get better. You all are different. I hope you know that. Most traders don't put in the effort. I thank you for your time. I thank you for wanting to learn more about trading. I'm looking forward to being your coach, your mentor for the next 30 days, for the next 3 months, or for the next year. Check out simplertrading.com/top tier, and I'll see you on Saturday. And by the way, the bot will see you on Friday to get those indicators set up on your charts. Be good to each other, gang. I'll talk with you soon.